Continue reading from Advaita Prakasha, Chaitanya Leela, by his disciple Ishana Nagara. And evidently, when Ishana was 5 years old, his mother approached Lord Advaita to become his disciple. And Ishana was raised as just like one of Lord Advaita's own sons by Sita Devi and Shri Devi. Lord Advaita had 2 wives, and they treated Ishana just like their own child. It's the wife of the spiritual master is like that. So, chapter 13. Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskitadi Satarane. And let's get it all back up here on the screen. Okay. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. All glories to Sri Chaitanya, all glories to Sitanath, all glories to Nityananda, along with all the devotees. Listen now to the wonderful narration of Ishwara Puri's visit to Navadvip. Advaita Prabhu called him the personification of conjugal love. Just by seeing him, one attained pure devotional service. Ishwara Puri was the topmost Vaishnava. He was completely unattached and indifferent to material things. When he arrived, he went straight to Advaita Prabhu's residence. Seeing the powerful sannyasi, Sitanath offered him obeisances, saying, Namo Narayan. As soon as Ishwara Puri saw Advaita Prabhu, he understood that Advaita was the cause for Krishna's descending on earth. Shri Ishwara Puri was a disciple of Shri Madhavendra Puri. Knowing this, Advaita Prabhu began crying in ecstasy. As the two began discussing topics of Lord Krishna, they were soon drowning in an ocean of ecstasy. Sometimes they cried, sometimes they laughed, sometimes they fell unconscious, sometimes they roared deeply like powerful lions. After some time, when they regained their external consciousness, Sitanath offered Puriraj his meal. Afterwards, Ishwara Puri wandered around Navadvip, and at an auspicious moment he met Sri Gauranga. When Ishwara Puri saw Gaurachandra, whose bodily effulgence resembled that of millions of suns, he developed the highest symptoms of devotional ecstasy and thought, he must be the original personality of Godhead appearing in Navadvip with a golden form. Seeing Ishwara Puri's effulgence, Vishwambar could understand that he was the topmost sannyasi and first-class devotee of the Lord. Gaur went before him and offered obeisances, and Ishwara Puri said, your desires will be fulfilled. They introduced themselves and then joyfully discussed the scriptures together. Later, Gaur lovingly offered Ishwara Puri various foodstuffs. Ishwara Puri rested there for some days, but after considering that some time remained before Gaur would reveal himself, he left on pilgrimage. One day, Gaur told Mother Sachi, I wish to go to East Bengal with my students. I will soon return. Don't think that there is any danger for me. You will have no anxiety if you stay at home blissfully engaged in Krishna's service." Saying this, he offered obeisances to Mother Sachi. She offered Gaur her blessings, though she was pained at heart. Gaurachandra then went east until he arrived at the residence of Padmanabha Chakravarti. Lokanath Chakravarti, an associate of Mahaprabhu, asked his father, Padmanabha, to go and receive the Lord. Shri Padmanabha Chakravarti was a pure soul and had received the mercy of Shri Advaita Prabhu. Padmanabha had understood from Advaita's indication that Lord Krishna had manifested himself in Navadvip in a golden form. He already knew through ecstatic trance that Krishna himself, in the form of Gaur, had come to his residence. Upon seeing Gauranga, he easily recognized him, so he offered obeisances by falling flat. Gauranga, however, went off to the side and chanted, "Vishnu, Vishnu." Padmanabha said to Gaur, "Don't deceive me. Your confidential position is known to the devotees. You are Krishna himself, full in all transcendental mellows. You have personally descended to deliver the living entities." Saying this, he offered Gaur an appropriate seat, which Gaur accepted while remembering Lord Vishnu. Padmanabha then honored Gaur according to Vedic custom. As Mahaprabhu stayed there for some days, word spread that the famous Nipai Pandit had come. Thus, many learned scholars, as well as hundreds of rich and respectable persons, came to see him. Children, youth, old people, women, made a commotion as they also came to meet Gauranga. After consultation, Gaur went up on the roof so that people could see him. Gaur's body had a radiant golden complexion, his arms extended to his knees, and he was a reservoir of ecstatic mellows. His eyes were restless, and his face resembled a fully blossomed lotus. His left hand was wrapped around Achyuta's neck. Everyone took bath in the Ganga like nectar of his matchless form. Some fortunate persons who drank that nectar became mad in ecstasy. Some shed tears in ecstatic love, and some joyfully danced with raised arms. That night there was a meeting of learned men. The lamps lit all around the meeting appeared like jewels. When Gaur, along with his students, entered that assembly, everyone stood up out of respect. In that assembly, Gaurachandra resembled the moon, and the learned men surrounding him resembled stars. One of the learned Brahmins was a topmost logician. He was expert in the scriptures, and the crown jewel among the scholars. He raised one question from the principles of logic, which Sri Gauranga immediately answered. That Brahmin repeatedly established various premises, which Mahaprabhu easily countered. While he was unable to establish any opposing arguments, the Brahmin accepted defeat. The scholars there remarked, "We had heard Nimai was named Vidyasagara, but now we have seen proof of his extraordinary knowledge." One day, a great Brahmin and devotee of Lord Vishnu approached Mahaprabhu with folded hands and asked, "I see that in Kali Yuga the whole world is full of terrible sins. How then will the living entities be delivered?" Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "Living entities will be delivered by hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. There's no other means of deliverance. Simply by chanting the holy names, all sins are destroyed, and one attains pure devotional service." On hearing this, the Brahmin became jubilant. He chanted the name of Harih, danced and cried, oblivious to his surroundings. On seeing this, all the atheists laughed, while Krishna and the Vaishnavas were all delighted. Padmanabha Chakravarti was most fortunate, for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu resided in his house. Thereafter, Gaur gradually proceeded to the bank of the Padma river. When Gaur saw the river, he joyfully said, "The Padma river is the second body of Lakshmi Devi. One who takes bath in this river is certainly freed from all sins." Gaur stayed there for some time and enjoyed various pastimes and a pleasant sight on the bank of the Padma. The saintly persons discussed among themselves how Gauranga's transcendental association was being appreciated by everyone. They said, "The seat of Navadvip's intelligentsia was on the eastern bank of the Ganges. One powerful Pandit has come here from that place. His name is Nimai Pandit, and he has the title Vidyasagara. He has written a commentary under the name Vidyasagara." Hearing about Nimai, many persons came and spoke to him and thus became purified. Many teachers came and offered various items to Gaur, and they became jubilant by discussing with him. Many students came with a desire to study under Gaur, and by studying under him for just a short time, they received a title. Meanwhile, in Navadvip, Lakshmi Devi was bitten by the snake of separation from Gauranga and disappeared from the world. A few days later, Sri Sachinandana decided to return home. At that time, a great religious-minded Brahmin, after having a dream, came to visit Mahaprabhu. He offered obeisances at the lotus feet of Gaur and confidentially told him about his dream. Gaur told him, "Keep this matter a secret. You should go to Kashi for now. I will meet you there in due course of time, and then your desire will certainly be fulfilled." In this way, the simple-hearted Tapan Mishra went to Kashi on the order of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, East Bengal was blessed by Vishwambar, who then returned home with great wealth. Sri Gauranga then returned to Navadvip and exhibited sorrow on hearing about the disappearance of Lakshmi Devi. Seeing Mother Sachi Devi in great lamentation, he consoled her in various ways. Then, Gaur's followers and friends arranged for a second marriage. The Raj Pandit, Sanatan Mishra, was a great Brahmin. Advaita Prabhu said he was the incarnation of Sri Satyajit. His daughter, Vishnupriya, was the crest jewel of all chaste ladies. She was endowed with all good qualities and was the reservoir of all beauty. Sri Gaurachandra thus married Vishnupriya. Advaita Prabhu described her as the Lord's own pleasure potency, Lakshmi Devi. A grand festival was held in Sri Sachi Devi's house on the occasion, and Sachi was overjoyed to again have a daughter-in-law. Sri Achyuta told me about this event, which I have described just a portion of. Praying at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Shri Advaita, always desiring their mercy, I, Ishana, Nagara, narrate Shri Advaita Prakasha.